Okay. I was saying thank you very much. You gave us a very good presentation of all the work you did, which is definitely along the years and very well done. I mean, the control and everything else. Now, the question I have is, how do you think, how long do you think will take for the application of the stem cells for the regeneration of the tissue? Do you have any insight about that?
I think looking at the literature, that in many animal models, there are application of amniotic fluid cells to regeneration of different type of tissue. We have a collaboration in Italy with Professor Revoltella that is involved in research about regeneration of different type of tissues in mouse. And with our sample of amniotic fluids, he was able to obtain the regeneration of olfactive neuroepithelium, and also all neuroepithelium of the cochlea. Many other papers unpublished recently about the regeneration. Professor Fausa produced a lot of data from this point of view, very important. And I think that the time is limited from the law in different countries, because from the animal models we have to pass at the clinical trials, and only after finish the clinical trial we can propose for therapy in human. So how much years, I don't know, but I think not much, really not too much.
Thank you.
Question. I'm very interested in the OCT4 marker, since OCT4 has long been thought of to be a pluripotency marker.
Seems that there are presence of cells showing embryonic profile, but they disappear with the culture. And I think that it could be better because there are data in literature that report that embryonic cells have a genomic instability. And after, in many samples, after not too much passages in vitro, they show a neoplastic transformation. In this case, we have a careful attention about the stability of chromosomes and of DNA, but we have not observed any change.
So have you isolated some of the OCT4 positive progenitor cells and characterized those? Because you're showing with passage that they're lost, but that suggests that there's a starter population where OCT4 is elevated. Have you looked at those populations of cells?
No.
So what you just said means that the cells from the amniotic fluid are, could have some advantage compared to the stem cells?
The amniotic fluid could have some advantage in respect to
the stem cells that you collect from
the adult,
the embryo.
From the embryo.
Yeah.
I think that we have not experienced using cells directly from the embryo. You know that in Italy is not possible because the rules does not permit. Yeah, but I think that these kind of cells in amniotic fluid are fetal cells, have a very large pluripotential of differentiation in several types of tissue, and we observe also that the T-type cells, the cells with epithelial-like morphology, when are in vitro for a very, very long time, have a spontaneous tendency to transform in neuroepithelial.
So maybe just one more question, and then we need to move. And then we'll have towards the end of the event, we can have time for more questions. So do you want to go ahead with one?
My question isn't a scientific question, but with President Obama up the street, I wondered what type of changes you've seen coming from Europe to the U.S. in terms of the environment for stem cell research since the Obama administration has come into power.
So I think the question was whether we anticipate there will be some differences in, I guess, regulations and what's acceptable in terms of stem cell research between Europe and Italy specifically and the United States.
Since the Obama administration came into power.
Yeah, I think that's, so as an American person, maybe I can comment on that. I think obviously all of the changes that were done with the recent Obama administration, one of the biggest effects it had is probably
there is not possible preserve for perform autolog preservation of cells from cord blood. But on amniotic fluid there are not any rule.
And here we definitely observe much broader possibilities, and that's important both in terms of what type of material you can collect and preserve, and also what type of therapies can be available and how you can use this material for therapy. So that's the biggest difference. And obviously with the latest regulations, just the possibilities have been much expanded with what kind of material you can now use in the research laboratories and then apply in clinics. So that's the biggest difference probably. But again, in Europe, it's also very heterogeneous. So Italy would be very different from Switzerland and would be very different from Germany. So it's hard to do kind of direct comparison between Europe and United States also. So thank you.